All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's April 25th, 8 a.m. my time. Today's video is going to be something different. What we're going to do is we're going to map out a framework and a game plan to figure out where we are in the market, how we're analyzing the market, and how do we move forward from here. We're also going to start discussing our positioning in the market, what assets I'm paying attention to, what levels we need to watch, and where are the likely scenarios that we go from here. For that, I've outlined this note. It's a game plan that we have going into the end of the month because we are at April 25th. So by the end of the month, I'm expecting a little bit more volatility, maybe a little bit more cleanup, whether we need to go up or down. And then as we head into May, either we're probably going to have continuation, or quite possibly maybe we really do bottom and we have the beginning of a reversal. So at present moment, I'm going to discuss my positioning in the market. 100% cash, which I've stated. Relatively close to 100% in my main account, but in my 5K account, as you'll very well know, I'm at this 10,900 marker, right? In my main account, I've discussed this in the position updates. Here we talked about numerous spot positions that I closed out: ETH, FTT, SRM, Cake, Ray, all this stuff. All the profit and losses are visible right here. All the entries and timestamps are all visible in the channels outlined in Altcoin spot buy, DeFi spot buy, and then DEX NFT spot buys for those of you who are curious. At present moment, I hold no levered positions and very few spot positions, if at all, in my main account. I still have my Bitcoin USD spot bag, obviously. This is just my spot bag that I've held for years, but I actually closed out 50% of it a couple days back, closer to about 55, 57,000, I think. I've had that averaged up and down for years, so I really don't even know where my cost basis is. But point is, it's a good amount of profit. And honestly, this spot bag, I move up and down. I generally keep some Bitcoin spot, whether I'm in a bear market or a full-blown bull market. But whenever I feel like the market has gone into a decent amount of euphoria, I don't mind cutting that bag down a little bit more. Because generally, the way I view the market is I play it from a cycle to cycle perspective. And when I feel like a cycle is nearing its completion, or I feel like a cycle is maybe getting a little too choppy to the point where I don't quite understand it, and I think that's where I am right now. I don't think the market is getting toppy in a sense, maybe locally, but it's getting very choppy. And it's getting very ambiguous and uncertain to the point where I'm not quite sure I understand exactly where we're heading from here. But for that, once again, we've outlined this game plan for today. So let's start going down the list. All the things that I want to discuss today. First of all, we talked about our positioning in the market. Very close to 100% cash, other than my NXM, which, by the way, I can't withdraw, like I can't close out this position. So it's one of the reasons why I can't close out, because they have some minimal capital requirements rule on their website, which they're not able to sell my entire position for some reason. My position is not that big, but it's not small either. So maybe it's because of that. I don't know. But point is, I'm okay with holding Nexus Mutual because it is a relatively nascent industry. If you think about what's going on in the industry space, or the insurance space, sorry, let's look up Nexus Mutual. Nexus Mutual, there it is, right? It has just begun, okay? $602 million market cap. It has a ton of big players that are involved in it, big crypto hedge funds. And additionally, it is not one of those tokens that retail can get involved in and start trading back and forth because it's somehow supposed to revolutionize, crypto or blockchain. It's not one of those. It has a very less sexy appeal than, say, something like Ether or Bitcoin or Solana or all these other altcoins. It's very boring because insurance is boring. And when it comes to boring stuff like that, generally, I've always found that there's good money to be made. So I've invested a decent amount of money in it, and I'm going to hang on to this for a little bit longer, and we'll see. Even if the market starts going down, I'll just keep my Nexus Mutual in there because I also got in at a good price. I think I got in around like $54, $55. So I'm up, 50, 70% or something already. So that's the only position I have in my main account. Now, going down the list, overall directional bias, very bullish. Okay. I'm very bullish on the overall directional bias because there are very few things in the market that are telling me that I need to start preparing for a bear market or we've gotten crazy amounts of euphoria or whatever. Near-term bias, neutral to bearish, right? But the thing is, when I wrote this note, I've been thinking about this neutral to bearish bias for almost the last 10 days. Today, on April 25th, I'm more close to this being much more neutral and flipping bullish rather than holding a neutral to bearish bias. Why? Because we've already had 10 straight days of just decline. We've topped on April 14th right here. We put in the $65,000 high, and then we rolled over to the downside almost to about 47,500. So top to bottom, we've had almost a 25, 27% decline, right? Top to bottom. At present moment, from high to where we are, it's 23% decline. Still quite a bit. So after a 23% decline, if you start looking at Bitcoin's historical data, say in 2017, this run up, well, each of these declines are somewhere close to about 30 to 40%, right? That was a 40% decline. This is a 34% decline. This one up here is a 41% decline. This one up here is a 30% decline. So all in all, in this entire run up, we've had multiple 30 to 40% declines. And guess what? Even over the last several months, in January, I think we had about a good 30% decline, 35%. No, 31 point something percent, right? So not bad. So as we stand right now, we might be looking for the once in, every 2-3 months where Bitcoin does have, say, a 30 to 35% decline. So if we get to a 30% decline, where does that take us? Somewhere around 45,000. If we get to, say, a 35% decline, where does that take us? 42,000. And if we get to, say, a 40% decline, where does that take us? 38,000. So I believe these are the more important levels that we want to start mapping out. Why? Because Bitcoin has done that previously in its previous bull cycle, and it just did that in January to about a 31% decline, as y'all saw. So 45, 42, and 38 are the more important markers. Now, here's the thing. This area right here, particularly strong, okay? Very, very strong support in this area. Why? Because if you dig into the 4-hour a little bit, we actually built a very nice base here. See this base right here? Base, 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 broke out, retest, broke out. See, when you come back into a multi-day base like this, how many days was this? 23rd February to about March 8th. That's almost 12, 13 days. When you build a 12, 13-day base like that, and then you break out, chances are when price revisits this area again, this area, as y'all can see, right? It's going to have trouble breaking it. And it's definitely going to have trouble breaking it on the first go. But it all depends on the strength of the sellers and the lack of demand from the buyers. Now, I myself am surprised that after this wick, we didn't have a strong bounce back up here, fill this inefficiency, and then roll over. See, when you have a market that already sold off, first of all, so aggressively like this, and then you still have decline, 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 and another lower low, pressing into this very key support area, right? This big base that we built, this should tell you that the sellers are strong and the buyers are just not that strong. So at present moment, this does not make me feel comfortable at all. The grinding behavior like this and the lack of responsiveness from not only this low, but even this lower low right here. What this tells me is those levels that we just spoke about, 45, 42, and then 38, I think it's possible that we might tag one or all of those. The biggest level below us right now is probably this VWAP right here. This is the VWAP from the year. This begins at the beginning of 2021, and it's the volume weighted average price of all that's happened from January 1st till today, April 25th. And it takes into account the volume associated with the price action. So based on the VWAP, we are currently having the VWAP yearly around 46,900. Haven't even tagged that. So 46, 9, 45, that 42 marker that we spoke about, and then 38, where do I think is the most likely area that we bottom? I think the most likely area is somewhere very close to here. Now, I don't know if we are going to be really strong and just wick into this area, but then quickly close above. I have no idea, right? Because we really don't know how the market is going to react in situations when, say, next week, maybe we just have a random day where we just decline really fast, right? Maybe some bad news in the stock market comes up, some bad news in crypto comes up, some FUD or whatever you want to talk about it. It may just be that one big shock that we need to cover up all those levels all the way to 38K. Now, I do believe that somewhere around 39, 40K, see this area right here? This was the last inefficiency that we had. If y'all look right here, see this big up candle? We didn't really come back and fill in some of this up candle right here. Generally, when you have such a big up candle, markets tend to retrace a little bit and then push up from it. That's one of the reasons why I think that somewhere around this 42 to 39 area, we may just have a quick wick inside. Now, if we just start mapping out probabilities, right? So let's do this. Okay, let me delete this real quick. And let's start mapping out scenarios. Okay, 1, highly probable. We are close to a bottom, if not bottomed now. Next strongest support is around 45K to 46K, right? So where are we now? We're at 49.9 or something, right? So from here down, what is that? Another 5%, right? Actually, no, 6% to about 47, almost 10% to 45. Okay, so about 6 to 10%, let's just say, right? So 6 to 10% as a decline from here. Now that's a pretty decent drop, right? So if you're thinking about perpetual long positions, may not be the best idea to enter now, but you can start scaling in. If you want to start building, that could be a potential opportunity. If not, you could wait, right? You could just wait for what happens today evening as the CME futures open, tomorrow morning as the US markets open, and then we'll get to see what kind of market are we in going till the end of the month. The second situation that I believe is also potentially probable, okay, slightly probable, we get a decline to 42K, which is about negative 30. What is that total percent drop? I think it was a 35% drop, if I'm not mistaken, from the 65K high, right? I think that's the next probable potential situation. Okay. Now, less probable the dump and wick into 39K, which is a negative 40% decline. All right, so this is how you're starting to map out these situations. So now we understand Bitcoin a little bit more, okay? Now we'll start attaching indicators to it, right? We now know levels from a percentage perspective, from an SR level perspective, right? So how does the indicator outlook look? Ichimoku Cloud, most of the timeframes are pretty much under the cloud, right? I think I posted this yesterday. Shoot, maybe I didn't. So let's do that. Let's do that real quick, okay? So here's the Ichimoku Cloud, right? So starting from the 15-minute time frame, again, pretty much under the cloud. 30-minute, under the cloud. 1 hour, definitely under the cloud. 4 hour, definitely under the cloud. 12 hour, under the cloud and consolidating under the cloud. Daily, entering the cloud. Now, Ichimoku Cloud is one indicator that I pay attention to from time to time, especially to understand momentum in the market and what the projections are, right? Because Ichi Cloud is pretty good at doing that. It helps you identify the projection of price action further in terms of how much strength is there in the market based on this previous price action, okay? So at present moment, the cloud is still green, price is above the cloud, so that's good. On a daily basis, we're good. But we've broken below both this blue line and this red line. So this is a Tenkan line, this is a Kijun line. These are key support lines before you even tap the cloud, but we broke through both of them. So definitely not a good sign. So where could we head to now? We're hanging on top of the cloud, but if we break down, where could we head to? Somewhere around 39 to 40,000, which is the bottom red area of the cloud, okay? So now you see, if in case we break down, that might be the area we come down into. Okay. Now, what about our indicators? The indicators that Harry put together. Most of them still don't look good. He also has an indicator, which is an Ichimoku Cloud-based indicator. Again, prices below the cloud, below the moving averages on a 1 hour basis. 4 hour basis, below the cloud, below the moving averages right here on a 4 hour basis, right? Even below the last, as you can see, this, let me turn this off real quick. Oops. Even below the last moving average that we follow, and then we have its own sort of moving average bands right here, right? These are the smaller bands. Even all these, okay, are holding up price right now, but we have entered into these bands right here. What about 12-hour basis? Okay, 12-hour basis, we're hanging on to this pink line right here, barely, because we've been hammering over and over again. So where's the next big support after that? This is this white line right here, somewhere around 40,000. So again, now you see why the 40,000 area, 39,000 area might be an area that you want to keep an eye on. But again, statistically, the probabilities are less, but they're there. Okay, so you still want to keep that in mind. What about the swing indicator? How's that looking? Well, we declined below this aqua line on a 12-hour basis. Excuse me. Voice is giving out. Okay. So where to next, right? We know that from this trend line perspective right here, okay, this trend line that we've mapped out since last November, tap 1, 2, 3, if we do come down and tap that trend line, that's somewhere around 40,000, 40,500 anyway, right? So y'all can see clearly that there might be some big support with confluence from moving averages, the cloud, and then our trend line that come to meet price somewhere around that 40K marker, okay? So just something to pay attention to, okay, folks? Now, what about the bigger time frame indicators? Well, we know that I told y'all MVRVZ score. As you can see, it's collapsing right now, right? But again, we have not hit the overbought territory up here, okay? So if we have not hit that in the last 3 bull markets, we actually tapped that, and that was basically the top in the bull market. Well, maybe statistically, we may not be at the top. Again, that's as per these indicators. These are not perfect indicators because they have yet to be broken, right? But remember, all indicators are never 100%. There's not a single indicator that on the planet, indicator, model, whatever, that won't get broken one day or another. It's just how it works. So will this be the time where the MBRVZ score gets broken? We don't know. For now, we have to assume that the past historical price action of this hitting the overbought territory might be true, okay? And that we may not be topped yet. And I tend to believe that too. 200 weekly moving average heat map, I've told y'all before, still not in the red, right? So not doing too bad, okay? Once we get into the red, like this back here, or like this back here in 2013, then we start getting really overextended. Not there yet. Okay, so we talked about the indicators, right? Then let's talk about something that happened last week too, right? Last weekend, obviously, we had $11 billion in liquidation. And then through the week, you guys saw further and further decline, right? And then we had another $5 to $6 billion in liquidations hit again through the entire week. Open interest came down from 25 billion to now, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere close to 18. Okay, let's pull up the open interest right here. So as you can see, it's closer to 18 or 19, right? Total open interest. This means basically the levered positions in the market. Now, more than likely, these are levered longs, more than likely, because it's a pretty bullish market, and I would figure there's a lot of long positions in the market. So if we do start going for another liquidity hunt next week, guess what? More than likely, the market is going to decline because the pain is to the downside still. Again, that's if we go down further. So if y'all remember QCP Capital, one of the articles I posted from them, they actually expect a good open interest to get started on the next leg of the bull market to be somewhere around 10 to $12 billion. Okay. But something that I also believe in is you don't want to get too greedy and only bank on these numbers. Okay. Even the things that we've spoken about so far, waiting for 45K or 39K. You don't want to wait for those specific levels because we don't know the strength that you have. So don't bank on that. Take the market from a day-to-day perspective. Okay? If the winds start turning, say tomorrow itself, we start turning with the winds too. So what's happening now with altcoins? We know that there are few resilient altcoins that have been doing really, really well, right? Solana is probably the only one now. ETH, much more stronger, but not as strong as Solana, right? And then there's some others in the DEX space, which are smaller altcoins that are popping off here and there. But in reality, majority of the money is dormant, right? Majority of the money is silent right now. Because guess what? A majority of the money, even if you just go right here, market cap, okay? This is what's happened in the last 7 days. This is the majority of that money. Okay, look how much is green. Solana is literally the only one that is relatively green. BNB, oh, that's the BUSD, my bad. Monero, up 3.5%, not bad. Terra, up 7% the last 7 days, not too bad either. But look, across the board, red, right? You can't say that, you know, the anomalies that you have like Maker and Terra, which is right here that we just saw, right? Pancake Swap, which is up 20%. Across the board, I mean, any person could look at this and say, all right, obviously something has happened in the market. Last 7 days have destroyed everything. Majority of the market, 99% of the market in altcoins got crushed. Okay, so that means that for the most part, majority of the altcoins are suffering with Bitcoin. But the other thing that I believe in is when you do have a broad market base being created for altcoins, okay? And when most of the altcoins start bleeding, that is when you want to start paying attention. Okay, this is the signs that the market might be basing out, that the overall market might start getting a bid underneath it. And that's where you then want to become a bit more bullish and you want to start doubling down on your bullish bias. at present moment in altcoin space, I'm not there yet. Okay. I will say that I think we've declined a lot. Like sushi, one of my favorite altcoins, we've declined a lot. Okay. I don't even know why sushi's down this much, but again, I'm not going to question it, right? I'm not smarter than the market. The market is always the truth. That's it. Okay. Sushi's down a lot. Uni also down a decent amount. Well, I guess it's only kind of moving sideways. So it's not doing anything terrible. All right. Theta, one of the more prized, DeFi or NFT space altcoins, it's down almost like 45, 50% from the highs right here, right? As you can see, 41%. Okay. So all in all, I mean, a lot of the altcoins, like no matter what you pick, okay, if I just start picking random altcoins or I just start going, to my watch list, okay, like let's just say I picked, I don't know, XLM, right? Here's XLM, big decline. Okay. Link, pretty big decline. Dash, big decline. YFI, huge decline. Right? Aave, big decline. I mean, this one's been sideways for like 2 months. Okay. So you guys get the point. Broad market across the board, most altcoins don't look good. But I also don't think that if we're going to not enter a bear market, right? I don't think that these altcoins are going to break down much further. And I, again, personally don't think that we're going to break into a bear market anytime soon. But again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, okay, guys, we can never go bearish. Right? I really don't know. This is why, because I'm uncertain right now of the market situation and positioning, I am just sitting in cash. I'm talking my book from my perspective. You could do as you wish, but you guys have seen me in real time, live action, pull triggers on closing out positions, waiting in the market. Even as when we saw ETH pushing up all the way till 2,600, I didn't budge because I didn't think that this was going to be a real move. And if it was, I figured it would be a good breakout and I'd get a pullback and a nice retracement and then I'd jump back in. That's not what I saw, right? We just saw a huge Gravestone Doji and big sell off the day after, right? So it just, point is it pays to be patient in situations like that. Okay. All right. So what else? We talked about the potential bottom. Alts may be close to bottom. If not, they may have bottomed already, right? Or the final stage of the Bitcoin decline might be the final sort of flush that the altcoins need too. So say we go into Sunday and Monday, maybe we do have that final drop, 47K, 45K, 42K, 40K, 39K, wherever we drop to. That might be the final flush that we have from a Bitcoin basis and puts in the final drop in altcoins as well, right? So that final drop in altcoins might push, say, something like ETH, maybe down to 2,000 levels, maybe down to maybe a fast, wick down to about mid 1900s, something like that. Where does that put Link? Some key areas of support. Maybe it's already at the lows, so can't even do a whole lot, but maybe it flushes down further, right? Maybe it gets towards this base. This is a pretty strong base in Link right here. Okay, so somewhere around $28 to $27. Okay, so I'm mapping out these scenarios for y'all so you could pay attention to what levels you want to watch out for. So ETH, potential bottom 2000, maybe, mid to high 1900s. Link, 27 to 28. Theta, I think Theta is probably somewhere around like $7 to $8. I actually saw Theta yesterday, so. All right, so Theta right here. I mean, if it just dumps, I'd probably figure it comes somewhere around this low, $7. Maybe just a wick past that, so say 6 something, right? But all in all, I'm not expecting Theta to like drop to $5 or $4, maybe, but again, chances are kind of slim. Let me see some other altcoins I'm paying attention to. Solana, I think Solana has probably, just in case it does drop, right? I think Solana comes into this area right here. Okay, that or this. So 31 down to about 29 or so, just in case, say, the market drops next week. Okay, so sold 29 to 31, right? What about SRM? So I'm paying attention to some of these altcoins that I want to be watching, right? SRM is already, I mean, really looks good right here. Multiple dojis and hammers right here rejecting this $5 area. And now it's pressing back up towards 640, right? So just in case it breaks out again, it might get to $5 and some change, okay? Maybe it declines towards like mid fours, okay? So SRM, mid fours to 5.10, okay? Now FTT. What about that? I think FTT's declined a lot already. This was the previous resistance level, right? Broke out, retest, support, broke out. This one's broke down quite a bit, in my opinion, right? What is this down? From the high to where we are, it's down 22%, right? I think it's broken down a decent amount. So this is what I mean, right? Maybe altcoins are either close to a bottom. If not, they might have bottomed, but we just don't know because we don't know what Bitcoin is going to do in the coming days. Because if it has a big flush, well, altcoins could drop another 20, 30%, literally in the span of just, a couple hours in a huge wick, right? See, that's the part that you want to be careful about. Okay, so in levered positions, you want to be careful for that. In spot positions, you can start preparing to buy the dip on the way down if you want to. And these are the levels, like I said, we could be watching. So, again, maybe bottom now, or what, 37 support, right? I think it was 37. I say, oh no, not 37. What am I saying? Somewhere around 40. Okay, 40 support. Okay, so these are all the altcoins that you want to pay attention to, the levels. All right, so this is basically our game plan. Now we understand levels of the market, levels where Bitcoin is, where it could decline to, all the situations that we're prepared for. Okay, we just go into tonight and tomorrow, just waiting. I will post this notepad sheet for Advantage members, and we'll just wait. Okay, so I hope this analysis was helpful, right? I think now we have a better framework of understanding. I think everybody should be up to speed of where we are in the market. I still don't think that we have to start carving out the gravestone for this being the top of the bull market and we're going to start entering the bear market. I think it's too early for that. I still think that the market is very strong, very resilient. But again, near-term volatility is showing us that you just want to be careful. But we've also declined a whole lot where we may be close to a bottom. If not, we may have already bottomed. Now we just need to start seeing a base, and then you can start jumping into, say, spot positions if you want to. Okay, so that's pretty much it, folks. That's all I got for y'all. I hope you found this analysis helpful, as I did. All right, y'all take care, and we'll catch up soon. Cheers.